From fabulous Los Angeles, California, Hollywood, home of the stars, the magic factory where dreams come true, culture capital of the world, jewel of the Pacific, it's the Adam Carolla Show.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but to get it on. Mandate, get on. Welcome to the show. Good day, Alison Rosa.
Hello, Adam Carolla.
And Bald Brian.
It's requested by someone named Goat, which I assume stands for the greatest of all time, or he's just a fan of goats. But he's on Twitter, and that's his top drop request for today.
Yeah. Adam Ray here. By the way, Muhammad Ali had a brand of like supplements.
Of goat switches?
Oh, yeah. He had a brand of like, it was like trail mix and protein mix and T-shirts and stuff, and it was called Goat. And
how'd that sell?
I used to teach boxing for a living, and I wasn't doing the goat math that quickly. All I know is I didn't want something that said goat on my trail mix. And guys who've been punched in the head aren't great at solving acronyms. I don't even know if they know what acronyms are. Like, you make one of my family, bitch. So Adam Ray, as it turns out, I forgot because I was pretty high.
Sure.
Hanging out with Harland Williams in his hillside retreat, watching a little MMA fighting. And then also, Adam, it says here open for me at the Petersen Museum, but it was really just sort of a bunch of rich white guys doing a car event. And
well, I think I'm in the position as a comedian to be like, I opened for Adam Carolla, right? To you, it's just another fucking gig. But I'm like, no, it was me and Carolla and John Lasseter. I opened for John Lasseter, too. He gave a speech, but, you know.
I don't even think,
I opened for the movie Cars, I guess I could say, too.
I was really pleasantly surprised. There's me and John getting our computer steering wheel awards. The thing that was, well, first off, we brought a bucket of Mangria. We literally had a table up front, and we took we took a goat's bladder, and speaking of goats, and we put inside a hollowed out pumpkin, but a big one, and we filled it to the top with Mangria, and then we were just pouring it around this table the entire time. So the table got shit-faced, but so I don't remember what I said, but I do remember you were really funny.
Thanks, man.
And I remember thinking, this is tough because the average age in this room is 60, mummy
65.
plus 10. No, but it's petrified.
Somebody was dying during my act.
Oh,
there was.
There was 81 and a half was the average age in the room. No one knew, and I will say probably gave a shit who Adam was.
Nobody.
Or maybe this Adam and that Adam.
The elderly Jewish couple that picked me up from the ice house and got me there is the only people who knew me there.
Right. Oh, there's a picture of me
look at that.
pouring the Mangria. So Max Zapata and company were all there, and everyone was shit-faced. So I was like, I've done these kinds of gigs before, and it's tough. Like, when you're playing to your audience, it's awesome. But when you're playing to the who is, and then old people talk, and they don't know you can, who is he? Yeah. He looks Jewish, but you can hear what they're saying, and the ladies are wearing the big hats, and Adam got up there and kicked some ass.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think all those gigs, you just kind of have to, I'm definitely rummaging through my head as far as, what can I say that's, I don't want to be super clean, because, I still feel like that type of audience wants some edginess, but, you don't want to, one word could screw the whole thing up. And also, it was following a speech, and that's always just...
Yes.
He's like, and cars are fucking great, or whatever he said. And then here's, now for some comedy as people were getting their beefsteaks or whatever.
At a certain point, but I remember thinking, well done. Because I always think whenever they hire comedians for these kind of things, I was going, you don't want a comedian because it's not going to
fit.
Right. But it worked nicely. And then I remember thinking, oh, fuck, now I'm drunk and I got to go on after someone who's semi-competent. This may make me look like an asswipe.
You crushed it. You were great.
And thank you. Yeah. And it was, and John Lasseter was there from Cars.
Had you met him before?
No, I never met him. I met him on the premiere of Wreck-It Ralph, but that must have been after this. I think this was before Wreck-It Ralph, and then I saw him again over at the premiere at Wreck-It Ralph because I had a little part in that. And
He played a donut.
I played a donut, yeah.
Right. I love that movie.
It's a good movie. I was one of the donut cops. Those movies are smart.
I totally remember. Yes, I totally remember.
That's what I am. Those movies, I tell everyone, if you're going to write a screenplay, go ahead and watch some of those Pixar, Disney, whatever movies for plot.
Because their story is always first.
It's incredible how they bring it home and how they have a twist. And in a day and age where they make these huge action movies and even rom-coms where you just go, oh, come on, that would never. You watch these kids' movies and you go, ooh, that was smart. Oh, that's interesting.
Well, that's the first thing I said to John. I had like one moment when he came up to me after the set and was like, oh, great job. And I'm like, okay, this guy's kind of a hero. He's about to leave my table. What can I say? And I go, great to meet you. I go, I saw Toy Story 3 by myself and cried.
Right.
And he goes, oi, I'll get back to my table. He just kind of like, he was like, thank you. Like, it was just, which
told
is true
him
that the movie tugs at the heartstrings.
They're all, I mean, like, you just take the whole sequence of, like, Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
And you take the whole sequence when he gets captured and goes to the dentist office and he's in the fish tank and how the other fish try to stop the pump from the filter and get the tank dirty so they can remove him so he can jump out and get back into the bay and the seagulls and everything. And you're like,
that was as intense as when like Jeff Goldblum and crew were trying to escape the T-Rex. Like the same type of intensity.
Yeah.
With even smarter twists and turns along the way. Like, just there's never a false beat where you go, oh, they wouldn't do that, or that wouldn't happen, or whatever. And it's just
which is genius, by the way, because it's a fish tank scenario. You're never thinking about like, oh, how would that go down if you were trying to escape? But when you're seeing it play out, you're like, oh, exactly like that.
Yes, love.
That was an action movie in a fish tank.
It is.
What's your favorite Pixar movie?
People ask me that like about my twins all the time. I say, The Boy, but but Pixar movies are tough. Pixar movies are tough because that's emotional, you know?
It is.
The best half of Pixar movie is WALL-E. The first half is fucking art. It's really.
Now, why do you say that?
Because there's no dialogue.
Yeah.
It's all just words and beeps and whatever. And the whole half of movie is a really well done story. The story arc of the guy, WALL-E, finding love or whatever on this desolated planet, and he never says a word, and it's all beeps and boops, but you know exactly what's happening. It's so well done.
Wait, I haven't seen it. There's
Cars
no words in the whole first half.
No.
Cars is absolutely amazing.
It's just WALL-E on Earth and is desolate. It's really well done.
Everything's
My question is, at what point? Because they're humanizing automobile, transportation. And all sorts of fish and shit like that. At what point do we run out of creatures and we start attacking like items of clothing or diseases like syphilis, the movie, or like I'm not even trying to make a joke here. I'm like dead serious. Is there going to be a little tiny Pixar cancer cell that's? I'm not saying that's what I want to see, but
Horton did hear a who. Maybe Horton could hear a wart. Wharton hears a hort.
Maybe Horton could get HPV.
The business school, Wharton hears a hort.
Wharton
hears a whore.
I had a movie. I mean, I had a moment that I've said before, but it was my WALL-E moment. I didn't watch the whole thing. I'm ashamed to say.
WALL-E, you're talking about now?
WALL-E.
Well, the second half is just kind of okay. It's kids movie stuff.
I was hearing weird things. I was hearing that thing where it's like, it's a bad way to sell a movie, like where they go, there's no talking in the first half, but it's really good.
Yes, I already am like, now I'm never going to see it.
I want to set you up with this chick. She's totally hot. She's fat. She's totally hot.
Yeah.
She's super
Wait, what was
chunky,
that last part? Wait,
hot.
what was that? No, but you said something before that.
Totally?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Totally hot.
Totally hot.
Chunky. Totally hot.
Totally fat hot?
Fat, yeah.
Chunky
but
fat.
hot. But
okay,
you gotta fuck her. You gotta fuck her. Just the first half of her. Just the lower half.
Just the first
Stay the upper half. Yeah, so it's like, when people are going, it's really good, but there's no talking, you kind of do that thing where it's like that, I do like sort of the subtitle math.
Far.
Yeah, it's like, it's an elderly couple with Alzheimer's who watch each other rot in a kitchen, but you gotta see it. You gotta see it, and you're
it
like.
really makes you think.
Some of it's in Portuguese, others in French, and you're like,
but it's in 3D. So
I always just think that's where I just think to myself, I'm not that good a person.
Yeah, like, did you see The Artist?
No, because I'm not that good.
It's got a really cute dog.
I'm not good enough.
It really
where
sucks you in. I haven't seen it either. Yeah.
I just go. You know what? I'm gonna
You're not
go.
Missing out.
I'm watching Varsity Blues for the 55th time tonight instead
on TBS.
On TBS
with commercials,
with full commercials and
that's a
edits.
Great move by you.
Allie Larder edited out, and I'm still fucking watching that shit on TBS.
Blurred whipped cream titties. Yeah, any day of the week.
Extra cool whip around the titties, and I'm still watching because I'm a lightweight. Like, and it makes me. I think people tell you that so you realize what a lightweight you are. And then they mentioned they read the book, but it didn't quite hold up to the book, and you're like, now I'm really going to kill myself.
If you think think about it, it's got to feel good to tell someone something is good and doesn't have words in it.
Yes, it makes them superior. And sorry, Brian.
That's all right.
So
I agree.
we're lying. So when
Go
around,
fuck yourself is basically what we wanted to say.
around when the movie came out, Wall-E, just came out on DVD or something. My kids were like 2 or 3. Must have been about 5 years ago now, something like that,
right.
4 or 5 years ago. My wife's out of town because Bruce Springsteen's out of town, and she's got support. Because
when you leave
he's going to
town,
be at
including
Shea
the
Stadium
Blowfish
going 2, 3. Hold on, where's Lynette? Shit,
Let's pack it in.
pack it in, boys. Pack up them amps. So she was out, and it's me and Guatemalan nanny Olga laying on my kids' day bed.
Perfect.
With the kids sort of passed out by us watching Wall-E. And it's at that point where I think she's trying to do the bilingual thing, probably just in front of me. When I leave the room, she probably just beats the shit out of him with a flip-flop. But with me...
It's a weapon of choice for most nannies.
It doesn't leave a mark.
Yeah, and you can never tell.
Right.
It's like I was trying to get it on his foot.
Right. Yeah, you shouldn't have struggled. So, really? But on the forehead, huh? Crushed orbital socket, really. So she's shown. They're showing 2008 Wall-E. So they're showing the cockroach running around.
Right.
And my nanny does the cockroach, la cucaracha, and she's doing it. That's what she did. Now the kids will know how to just say cockroach, and I think steak will be the 2 things they'll know how to say.
It's really all you need.
Spanish. It's really it is all you need.
That's Rosetta Stone 3rd edition.
So I said, La Cucaracha, huh? And she said, yeah. And I said, that song that Brian... I've been on 1,000 construction sites. That's all I've ever heard. La Cucaracha. She's like, yeah. I said, was that a real song? I thought that just came from a lunch truck or like something Ricky Ricardo would make up or fuck with or something. I was like, nah, it's a pretty big song. And I said, what's the rest of the song? And she had to go through it. She was like, it's a cockroach. I was like, okay, there we go. Got that. Cockroach gets its legs removed.
Jesus.
And is buried on a hill with a mouse and a buzzard, she said. Buzzard.
Sure.
And I said, well, now I'm starving. I'm starving.
Yeah.
I'm famished.
Turn the
We
oven
got to
on.
go eat right now.
get some buzzard up in
because
this
the
house.
more buzzards, the more roaches, the more mice, and the more
Jesus.
amputation. Well, that is, and I just thought, what the fuck are you using that for? Your fucking come and get it song.
I always heard that there was a line about marijuana in that song. It's like marijuana something fumar.
Well, you gotta be-
Someone look that up.
Well, I think there's like 28 versions
Oh.
of it, but her recollection was that it involved not necessarily an amputee cockroach, but it's somehow its legs had been removed. And
I
it
would
was
say that's
buried.
amputated.
Well, yeah, maybe stepped on a landmine in one of those places that Princess Di used to warn us about. And then mouse and a buzzard, and it was buried on the hill. We can find a version of it, but I just thought,
A lot of songs have violent backstories like that you just don't know until you really inquire.
yeah,
Like Hanson's Bop.
we were just they
It's
were
about
just
an orphanage beating. Nobody knows
they
that.
did not know they
People
were
came
in here.
Yeah.
They
gave them
They will
Baskin
be in
They
Robbins.
here.
will be in here
Tomorrow,
singing that
yeah.
song tomorrow.
Well, there you go.
That is
Yeah,
crazy.
it
They
is.
totally hid the dark past of that song.
Bop. It's like
Mm-hmm.
those cartoon Batman catchphrases were above them when it happened. Anyway.
Like as you said, it was a big song. Like I guess they're Hey Jude.
All right, can you read that, Alison?
Yes. In English, the cockroach can't walk anymore because it's lacking because it doesn't have marijuana to smoke. The cockroach.
Well, wait a minute. That's the marijuana version. That's the original version of the song?
Well, hang on. The cockroach just died. Now they take her, it's a she, to be buried among 4 buzzards and a mouse as the sexton.
Jesus. These are the lyrics?
Those are the lyrics. Anyways, well, I guess the pot says,
Yeah.
let's have a breakfast burrito, but these are the words. So I guess there is
What an
marijuana.
awful song if you were just to sing it in English, by the
Well,
way.
that is one of those things. It's like chupacabra sounds awesome to us, but goat sucker must sound bad to them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I would say, why would not having marijuana make it so you can't walk? If anything, you'd be walking around more.
Yeah, I don't. This is since the Mexican Revolution. Anyway, not no part of this song says it's time to strap on the feed bag, right?
No.
There's buzzards. There's amputation.
It's almost a diet song.
Yeah, I think she left out my nanny left out the weed. Probably didn't want to be bad influence on the kids.
Well, you can respect that, but she didn't take any sort of she thought influencing the buzzard beatdowns was.
Yeah, no problem there. So anyway,
the implication is the buzzards are going to eat the cockroach. Like that's why they're gathering. So,
I see.
But that's not a great.
So it is a chow time song.
All right. Either way, bringing up just focusing on cockroaches and your filthy lunch truck. Not a great plan, right?
No.
Someone's got to give him one of those triangles.
What's wrong with row your boat? Or
it would be much more
kids.
pleasing to the palate. So Adam, I met over at Harland's house after a particularly violent MMA fight.
Yeah, you love the fights.
I love the fights, but
you gave some great commentary.
Some
it was fun to
dislocated elbows and things like that was a tough one to watch. And then we all sat around a fire pit.
Incredible.
And drank beers at the end of the night. And
when you said retreat, it really is a great description of his place because it's up in those hills and the view and the campfire and like the amount of shrubbery around his home.
Yes.
Definitely feels like you should be eating s'mores and
we're this
watching
close
some
to
counselors maybe put half of it in.
Yeah. And just the middle. That's
just
all
the middle,
I would do.
Just the lower half. Yeah. She's fat and hot.
So I have this theory about a lot of comedians, and that theory is that my sort of Doug Benson, Jeff Ross kind of thing, where I'm just like, fuck it, man. I like having s'mores and drinking beers and watching the sunset and having a fire pit and not having to put a fucking gate around my pool where the kids are going to drown and having a bunch of nannies on the payroll and shit like that.
I brought that up to Harland. He's like, what? What? Totally in denial.
Everybody says that. It's like, you can bring that up when you're, let's say, 27 to 39. But once you get to 45 and you're knocking on 50...
you're like coasting into this being the way the rest of your life's going to go.
You're just living alone on top of a hill. He's smoking wings up there.
Yeah.
He's drinking microbrews, and he's like, just haven't met the right lady. And it's like, look, you want to eat s'mores, watch MMA, drink microbrews, not fucking spend anything for nannies or healthcare or private schools, and bang 24-year-olds perpetually and then die. Like, I get it.
Sure.
I dig it.
We all get it.
Yes, we all get it. But let's just call it what it is. It's me I'm going to go out a couple of weekends a month. I'm going to make some cash. I'm going to come back and fuck some 24-year-olds.
Do you think that whole I just haven't met the right person yet is what or do you feel like if someone wanted to meet the right person, they would do it?
I feel like everybody does exactly what they want to do all the time. I know plenty of people who've backpacked their way through Europe who are broke, but they really wanted to go to Europe. So thus, they went to Europe. And I always say there's plenty of junkies out there that are on $200 a day habits and haven't had a job in 5 years. But yet, they get their $200 a day fix every day, and they don't take weekends or holidays off. So anyone who says, well, I envy you with your kids and your lovely family. I wish too that I could. No, you'd have it.
Yeah.
But it's everything. If you want to, if you're saying I want to make a documentary and you don't make a documentary, you don't really want to make a documentary. You want me to think you want to make a documentary, but if you want to make a documentary, you think about like porn and fetish and drugs and things like that. Like if you're into, you're like, I really wish I could see German chicks in latex getting stepped on by other German chicks in high heels. I just haven't found time. Then you're not into it.
Right.
You will find it. Right?
Totally.
With everything?
With everything. Yeah, you got to put yourself in the position also. I think if he wanted to meet somebody and settle down, then he'd be putting himself out there to do that more.
Yeah,
right?
And there's people go, well, listen, time, money. You can be broke or, live on a very modest income, and if it is your passion to fly, you will figure out a way to go to the airport and to take lessons and to volunteer to help work at the place if the guy gives you lessons. There's a million stories of people doing anything if they want.
Yeah.
But if they don't say you want to fly, you've never been in an airplane.
Yeah.
That says you don't want to do it.
I think if Joey Lawrence still wanted to have a shitty music career right now, he'd be in the studio laying down that next track.
Yeah, that was.
Was that his
Isn't
noise?
that
It's
Was that
close.
his
It was whoa.
Noise. I like how you said it was a catchphrase, but you said it's a noise. That's how shitty that he
But it was a noise.
It was a catch noise. Well, Fonz had a catch noise.
That's close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more like, whoa.
Have you ever talked about the most famous catch noises in TV history?
I don't think we have.
Now we're gonna have to get into it.
So
am
you're trying
very,
to introduce me, and I keep derailing.
No.
Tim Allen has some good noises.
I am very.
Cosby had a good one.
I am very. What was Cosby's? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty incoherent. It was like, but it was like spaced in between most of his thoughts.
And Tim Allen's
Right.
the gorilla thing or whatever
Yeah.
that was.
Ray Romano was just, yeah, you ever get married? You know. Yeah, man.
I always think about Full House. And
Me too.
Good. I love that.
That's it. Let's move on.
I love that
Just
show.
always think
Moving
about
on.
it. Yeah. Dave Coulier had a lot of catch noises.
Well, Coulier did like a lot of Popeye and stuff
There it
like
is,
that,
yeah.
but Blackie, his good-looking buddy. Well, Stamos. He was Blackie.
He played Blackie on
Yeah.
General Hospital.
Did he really?
Yeah, I know.
I know.
It seemed offensive, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Usually it's just offensive, but he had his Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
But I always use it as an example
Yeah.
as once you trot out that catchphrase, you got to punch the shit out of that bitch. You got to hit it like 5 times a show.
Yeah.
You can't just bring it out every once in a while. It never quite catches on,
No.
and it always confuses the shit out of people. So
Totally.
they would make a Lord have mercy run where it'd be like 4 episodes in a row where you go, Lord have mercy.
It was Lord have. It wasn't
Oh,
Have Mercy.
Have
Oh,
Mercy.
probably have mercy.
There
Oh,
it is.
probably start off as Lord have
Yeah,
mercy, and
they're
then the
like-
guys in the suits were like, "Oh my
Hey,
God,
let's not bring God into this.
yeah." I would have loved to be a fly in the wall at that meeting when somebody said, "Oh, this Herb's Christian found it." I mean, he very he turned all the color came out of his face when he heard
And you know,
that you won.
there were some writers like, "It's Lord have mercy or I walk."
Right, there was that one. Yeah, have mercy was his thing, but they didn't use it enough. They used it just enough for us to know what it is, but not for it to end up on T-shirts.
Yeah. You know who
Right.
I remember more was Michelle Tanner, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. Both, let's not forget it was 2 people.
Right.
Okay, a lot of people just think it was Mary. Maybe, Ashley had the day off. Oh, fuck you, man. Both of them put in the work.
Right.
Anyway, I got really fired up there for a minute about that. But she had "You Got It, Dude." Remember?
Oh yeah, and that blow me douche, but that was just the one episode.
Wait, that was the other catchphrase. Was "Blow me, douche."
Well, it was the one episode, and it never really got traction.
And then
It
one
didn't
of them
test well.
was 4,
had
so
Well, that's
cut,
probably maybe it was a little before.
cut it
Maybe.
out, and it had hand motions.
Yeah.
I don't remember what they were. Do you remember that? I don't know if it was
It was like a
Jodie
thumbs up.
Sweetin.
Yeah.
No, it was
Jodie
like
Sweetin.
cut it out or
Oh,
something.
that was Dave Coulier. Had cut it out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We'll
Anyway,
sit down.
Wally's amazing. You guys gotta see it.
Speaking of movies, The Heat, Adam, is
Yeah.
in coming up June 28th
Yeah.
in theaters. June 28th. How's that? What's your part? What'd you do?
I play one of the bad guys, one of 2 bad guys, and I've got about 5 good scenes in it.
That's
and,
pretty damn good.
It's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I was in Boston for 2 months with Sandra and Melissa. All my scenes were with them, so got to know them pretty well. And,
You don't just call her Sandy?
I mean, yeah, but I mean, I just
You didn't want to do it on the
that's
show.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
referring to yourself as in a nickname.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I grew out a beard, long hair. I'm a douchey nightclub owner,
Uh-huh.
so you get to see me half in that world. Like they meet me at a club, and my first scene was doing that and having my face shoved in Sandy's breasts, which was great.
And how was McCarthy to work
Incredible. They're both, I mean, for both of them being that famous and awesome, it just, and I'm sure everybody says like, oh, they're the best, but it's like, the premiere was in New York Sunday night, and I flew back yesterday, and it's like she's getting bombarded by all sorts of people, and talked to her for a while at the end of the night, just super normal. She's a workhorse, but
with? Yeah.
the movie, she's
Stalwart.
incredible in the movie
Yeah.
too.
That's the horse you'd fuck first?
Yeah.
Clydesdale?
Clydesdale. Just to get to the Budweiser.
Yeah, go to the top.
Yeah. That's the cushiest horse gig in the world. Yeah.
You're always looking for secret signs that somebody, a big star, is a douchebag or a jerk or
Yeah.
weird or whatever.
What's the sign?
No. I would say the opposite about Sandra Bullock from what I've heard about her, because she's one of only, I think, 2, maybe 3 people, stars, who showed up to accept their Razzie Awards. She showed up to expect, Razzies
Like
are the
that.
worst of the year.
Yeah.
She-
Right.
Worst actress
That's
for, I
respectable.
think,
Right.
I forget what it was, something about Tim or whatever it was, but she showed up to accept it. That's
Yeah.
a great sport.
Yeah. There's been a couple of those, and I
Yeah.
like that.
That's good. I like that
Sense
too.
of humor about yourself
No,
is
yeah,
probably
she's
the
got that.
best. Yeah. And you can kind of, well, also, she's been around long enough that you'd hear a bunch of stories. Like, there's a weird thing, which is I don't know if it's sort of just, negative mojo or whatever, but when someone is douchey and bitchy and around long enough, that just becomes a little cloud that sort of travels with them, in front of them and above them and behind them. And we always laugh about this, but a lot of interviews where they repeat the name twice, Sandra's, she's Sandra. She's Sandra. When you hear that, that's as close.
That's a great tell.
That's them wanting to go, I fucking hate that cunt. I fucking hate her. I wish she'd die. But they're on Entertainment Tonight,
do
so
they
they can't.
intend to say that, or do they intend to finish the sentence and then realize all that's really left for them is the name?
What happens is, I think, I would love footage. I would love someone to cobble together a 20-minute string out of people being interviewed on Entertainment Tonight over and over again, especially when it's like, and what was it like working with Bruce Willis? Right. Bruce is Bruce, okay? Yeah. I mean, he's Bruce. What it is it's like anything. Like, think about someone you despise and then go, what do you think of that person? And your first impulse is just like, oh, I hate
Such
that
an
person.
asshole.
And your second impulse is, I'm staring at a camera. And
I don't want to come off as an asshole.
Right. But I cannot pry a compliment. No. I hate this person so much, so nothing nice can come out of my mouth. But, because
even if you try to say something nice, it'll be coded with a fuck their guts.
Right. So, I just won't do it, but there is a camera. I can't say anything bad, so I'm just going to say set in their ways, kind of it is them, like they're them through and through and all that, and that's what ends up happening. All right. I wanted to play you guys a thing or two, at least show you something, and then I put together something that I thought was heavy, interesting, but heavy, man. So, commercial that I saw, I stare at commercials, and they bother the fuck out of me because I'm tired of all the warnings. There's
late night infomercials or commercials?
No, they like car commercials with the warnings, because they fall into three categories. First, they have the absurd, impossible, can't do this. Like, we're playing High-Lie on the moon in a Subaru, and it's saying, do not attempt. And it's like, it's impossible for me. No, even if I do attempt it,
sure.
I can't. It's like showing someone levitate and saying, do not attempt. I'm going to fart and blow myself off the ground 18 inches and stay suspended for an hour. It's
That'd
like
be a great superpower.
You can try. I don't know why you say do not attempt when they're on the moon driving their dune buggy. It's like, it's impossible. If you can get to the moon with your fucking Subaru, that should be your business.
By all means, attempt.
Right. So there's the physically impossible, do not attempt. Then there's the ones where it just says, every time they're driving, it says closed course, professional driver, do not attempt, where they're just going down a straightaway in the middle on the way to Vegas. And it's like, hey, if I can't drive this fucking minivan in a straightaway, we're going to have real problems here. Like, if I have to hire Joey Chitwood to drive it off the fucking lot. So weird. All right. All right. Look, Google me Joey Chitwood. The point is this. If I have to hire a professional stunt driver to drive my kids to the Y, we got an issue here.
It's going to impede your enjoyment of the car,
for
sure.
The guy's going 44 miles an hour in a straight line down an endless desert highway. That's not safe for me to do? Sorry, there's Joey Chitwood. He's standing on top of a car.
That may be the quickest Joey Chitwood pull-up I've seen in a while.
It's top 5.
In a while.
It's top 5.
Look at him. What's he doing?
It's not the best. Yeah, it's back when there was nothing on TV. There'd be, when we had time to fill, they'd have like Wide World of Sports. They'd have barrel jumping.
This was before Empty Nest and Who's the Boss hit the airways.
Yeah, when there's nothing on TV.
The dark days of television.
The dark days. I don't even like to talk about it anymore.
Show Joey. Joe will show you what Joey did. Anyway.
So what's the third thing of those commercials?
There's the straight line one, and then there's just the, oh, please, come on. And this is the one, I think it's a BMW commercial where they show a little kid, and the kid is putting, it's a cute six-year-old kid, and he's putting his hand out the window, and it says, sticking your hand out of the window is dangerous. Caution, children, not to engage in this activity. And it's like, Jesus Christ, as simple as fucking, it's like pretty soon dogs won't be able to fucking put their snouts out the window. Like, the cheapest form of fun for a kid is doing that move.
That's one of the best things about being a kid. It's just like having just being able to, your hand's small enough, you're not going to get hit. Hopefully your parent isn't driving so close to the fucking,
not
another
drifting
car.
by a place that makes flagpoles.
Yeah, unless that's a way of like, that they get their kid toys at Toys R Us are like, I'm just gonna drive by. If you can reach your hand out the window and grab a fucking PlayStation, then it's yours.
I liked it. That's what Black Friday's going to turn into eventually. I liked it doing their whole aerodynamic thing where you put your hand out and kind of cup it and kind of let it go up and down. So anyway, the lawyers are involved with everything. Do not attempt, do not touch, do not attempt, do not touch. And then I started thinking about these commercials for these medications like Humira. We played one a few months ago on this show, and it's the lawyers doing their whole fucking preamble about everything.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal events can occur, such as infections, lymphoma, or other types of cancer, blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure.
The images
Before
do not
starting
match up.
Humira,
No.
your doctor should test
People
you for
swimming
TB.
in a lot of
Ask your doctor if you
pond-related
live or have
stuff.
been to a
Never have I
region where
sat on the edge of a
certain
dock
fungal
and
infections are
thought
common.
about
Tell
lymphoma
your
or
doctor
blood
if you have
disease.
had TB.
That's 'cause you don't
but next time.
Are prone to infections
Now I will
or have
forever.
All right,
symptoms
so
such as
stop it
fever,
here.
fatigue.
And then I started thinking about this whole opening statement with the Trayvon Martin thing and the guy's knock-knock joke. And I realized the lawyer, and it was very satisfying, he ended up fucking his joke by doing his stupid, shitty lawyer preamble.
Oh, right. He
And
did a
he
disclaimer,
did,
yeah.
he did to himself what lawyers have been doing to America, just dry anal rape with
Whoa.
all their fucking preamble and all their bullshit and all their do not put. I'm looking at a beautiful kid putting his hand out the window, but I got to read the fucking small print that says, don't attempt to put my kid's hand out the window, blah, blah, blah. He did that to himself.
Deep.
And satisfying to watch this lawyer fuck himself the way all the fucking warning labels. It's like you can have $100,000, $200,000 Bentley that's made with virgin lamb's wool, headliner and Conley leather, and there'll be a big yellow sticker ironed onto your sun visor, like caution, airbags. Do not put. Lawyers fuck everything up. They like pre-fuck it for us, and then we get to it. Now watch. Now listen to this lawyer pre-fuck his own joke. So satisfying.
Sometimes you have to laugh to keep from crying. So let me, at considerable risk, let me say.
When did Zimmerman become
I'd like to
Chaz
tell you
Bono?
a little joke. I know how that may sound a bit weird in this context.
Just go into the
these
joke, man.
circumstances.
No.
But I think you're the perfect audience for it.
Got to shit on his own product.
As long as you if you don't like it or you don't think it's funny or inappropriate,
fuck?
then you don't hold it against Mr.
I love it
Zimmerman. You
'cause
can
he's
hold it against
fucking-
me if you want,
He's
but not
stabbing
Mr.
himself with his own sword.
I have your assurance you won't. Here's how it goes. Knock, knock.
Get the mustache
Who's
line.
there? George Zimmerman. George Zimmerman, who? All right, good. You're on the jury.
Look at the guy to the left. He just looks up. What the fuck?
That's funny. After what you folks have been through.
The guy in the mustache looks like he wanted to dive inside his own mouth and escape from his asshole. That's what he's like. He looked
turn
like there was a
inside out.
small version of him going, I'm going to fucking dive in my own mouth and I'm going to climb out of my own asshole. Ooh, we may have a little Zimmerman Chaz Bono thing going on.
There was
Now
wow, what a ballsy move.
They started off quite a bit apart. They may cross at some point.
And she'll turn into him?
20 years ago, they were very different.
Yeah,
But
you're
they're
right.
on a fucking collision course.
Zimmerman's going to make a beautiful woman, and Chaz is going to make the manliest masculine man.
Well, I just want to know: is this new for Zimmerman to look like this, or
He was this way, and then he went thin, and then he got big again.
Okay.
I'm gonna be like, if this I'm one of those movies where I'm the mad scientist. I'm like I'm not the scientist, but I'm the quirky scientist, like Jeff Goldblum, and I'm like, I get hold of Bono and Zimmerman and go, you understand? You guys are on a collision course, and they're like, you're crazy, man. Get out of here.
Yeah, they never
Get outta here. And I'm
heed your warning.
I checked my charts, and then I go, I did make a miscalculation. Like I told you, you goofball. It's happening faster than I thought. We have 3 weeks, and no one will listen.
Right.
No one will listen.
You're like Scott Baio and Willie Ames in Zapped.
That's right.
Wow.
Both of them.
Great
like
call.
Willie Baio.
Where's that movie?
Oh man.
You're obsessed with the disclaimers. Do you ever notice and appreciate? There's once in a while there's a funny one, and it's like we have to do this disclaimer. Obviously, you can't walk on the moon. It's like there every once in a while there's a funny one.
Yeah.
or they attempt to be lighthearted. I shouldn't say funny. But
I'm down with that.
it's just like we know how ridiculous this is.
Well, I mean, like, what do you mean? Like for the like a Cialis one, and they say like, if the erection lasts for longer than 4 hours, call a doctor. Like,
it's never medication. It's always cars. Like dogs can't drive cars. We know this.
Yeah. Now
like
somebody's kind of wised up and said, look, if we got to put these in here, we should at least on occasion, depending on what it is, not medication, but we'll try to have some fun with it. I hate lawyers and whatever so badly that today, when the guys from Spike came over and some TV pilot I'm working on, they handed me a bunch of shit, which is they needed my signature for clearance of pictures of me that I gave them, which always drives me nuts. So I did what I always do, which is Assistant Matt, come here, sign this, and then hand it to the guy. But I do it all in front of them all the time, and I always go, I'm not signing. I'm tired of this fucking bullshit. But I know you need a signature, but it doesn't matter what the fuck we write on there. So I could just write Helter Skelter in blood and hand it back. It wouldn't matter. So I always get my assistant to sign everything that I'm supposed to sign. And now I do it in front of the people. They don't give a fuck either.
Right.
We're at the point with lawyers where, like, I don't care. Just fucking do it. Like, if you had to...
Everyone's just trying to check a box.
Yeah, if eventually there'll be a point where before any transaction takes place, you have to go really fast. You have to go, not last night, but the night before, 24 robbers came knocking at my door. And then there'll be someone's job to go, not last night, but the night before, 24, and we'll all just do it. And then we'll get on with our trans. And then I'll go, why are we doing that? And someone will go, just it has to. Like, don't get into it. Let's just move forward.
Would we do that in lieu of signing?
No, then we'd sign.
Oh.
But there'll be another step. That's all I'm saying. Does anyone know the not last night? I want more pictures of Joey Chitwood. Yeah, it's a jump rope thing.
Seems like an appropriate moment to get some more snapshots of that guy.
Now, Geragos is coming in, right? Talk to him a little about the trial. We got some news. I'm trying to think of, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we take ourselves there's Joey Chitwood again. He's always on two wheels.
Is he still alive?
You'd think he'd be dead.
You would.
Not driving like that, he is.
No, I need a picture.
Up.
I don't need to see.
Heads up, kids, don't drive like that.
I need a picture of like Joey Chitwood circa 1973. Like big hair, jumpsuit, looking proud. Yeah.
Was he the poor man's Evel Knievel?
Yeah, it was
I
back.
don't know I know Jimmy Chitwood. I don't know Joey Chitwood.
It was back when you could do. Here, the greatest stunt was this. You take a pallet, take one of those big wooden pallets, and you light it on fire. You could douse it with kerosene. You light it on fire. And he'd let it burn for like 10 minutes until it was just charcoal dust. And then a guy would hit it on a Honda 250 at like 45 miles an hour. And at the very last second, he'd duck his head and boom, and it's like, ah, and everyone just applaud. But there's a party that was always kind of like, I feel like I could do that. Like, you know what I mean? The stunts, like, you don't watch the X Games and go, I feel like if I was drunk, I could do that.
Totally.
You don't see a guy in the big air vert ramp and go, if I had like 4 Mickeys, I think I could do that.
If I had 2 Zimas, I'd fucking do that.
Right. These were stunts, or a lot of these stunts, like human stick of dynamite.
Yeah.
Were like, if I was a junkie or drunk, I think I could do that.
I mean, you're pitching a great show, by the way.
Yeah.
Just getting people super hammered and putting them in X Games situations.
What will hobos do?
What will hobos do? Hosted by Mark Summers. And put it back on Nickelodeon. Let's revamp that network.
All right. We need to...
Double Dare for hobos? I mean, I'm just talking out loud at this point, but...
Well, no, that ain't Joe. Is that Joey Chitwood? He's 14.
Single dare.
All right.
Less than 14.
Yeah.
Is that Haley Joel Osment?
Well, he was a late bloomer. I need to see adult Joey Chitwood. Boy, he spelled Joey weird, didn't he?
Yeah, like French joy.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Oh, now we're getting more now. That's black and white Joey Chitwood. Come on. Internet's got to be lousy with pictures of Joey Chitwood.
But
I was just looking at one the other day.
What is this that we're looking at from? It looks like a Joey Chitwood pulp fiction novel.
Everything in the 50s looked exactly the same. So it's like every car magazine looked the same as a news magazine. It was all like Ricky Ricardo.
All right.
I had a great...
Ricky Ricardo beat-off photo? What were you about to say?
I had a great moment this morning. It was quite a stunning contrast. I came downstairs this morning. My wife was in the den, and she was with the kids, and she was watching Lucy. I Love Lucy.
Great show.
And great show. She loves I Love Lucy. I sort of grew up on all those reruns, back in the day. There you action and thrills. So there they are, and they're sitting there, and it was one of those, and you realize how incredibly simple all those plots were. And so I'm watching, and it's like the night before, and they're like, well, you think it's so tough bringing home the bacon? Well, you don't understand what it's like to keep a household up and keep your meals warm. And well, we should switch jobs. That they did that in every sitcom.
Yeah.
And we'll see. It was always the husband that started off looking good, but turns out he was cheating.
Of course.
He's using the local deli, was catering the breakfast or something like that.
I guess it is tough to do what you do, sweetheart. Yeah.
Right. That's always in. But they go, we'll switch jobs for 1 week. I bet you don't last 1 week doing my job. And they went, well, all right, you're on. And then they did that weird saxophone music and the sweet. Right. And so I had woken up. I got myself a cup of coffee, and then I'd made myself some breakfast, which was taking Planters peanuts and dumping them into a cup.
Perfect.
And then I walked into the den and sat down.
You could have eaten them out of a can.
Next to everybody, and I was just eating my peanuts, and it cut to the next morning. And there was Lucy coming out, and there was Ricky and his thing. I've got your eggs. He's putting the eggs out. Here's your juice, freshly squeezed. And I was like, yeah, look at them. They swapped roles as I was eating peanuts. And I was like, look, they did the whole role swap. And then I went, wait a minute. What happened to wait, I'm still working. That part. Now we're watching the way it used to be. The one part of these things has not really altered too much in the last 50 years. That's the part where I hit the road. The part where I'm sitting here in my underpants eating peanuts, that part moved around just a little bit. Now, to be fair, my wife does ask 3 times a week you want breakfast, and I've just trained myself to eat peanuts. But
if you said yes, what would she make you?
Peanuts.
First off, I think she's just bluffing.
A peanut.
Oh, right,
Eggo.
maybe. She so that she can say, "Hey, I offered you."
Yeah, she'll wait till I'm out the door most of the time and yells. I'm running to my car. You want some breakfast? Eggs Florentine?
Whoa.
No. But it was funny that when they did the whole swap thing. This wasn't Sunday. This wasn't Father's Day. This wasn't Easter. This was just
their daily life.
Here you got your poached eggs sitting in a cup. Here's your juice. Let me pour your coffee for you. It was like, up 2 hours beforehand, making because he was doing her job, and then she had to get the papers out, the wanted ads, and find a job. She was going to do his job.
When people were watching that, who appeared to have the more difficult job, or was the audience like it's pretty even?
Like I said, the joke is always the guy's always the butt of the joke in that situation where they both learn a valuable lesson, and they both learn to appreciate what they had.
Right.
But
she goes out and gets some job, and then
she gets yelled at by Mr. Mooney or something,
right.
And she learns to appreciate.
Where are those papers?
But she doesn't admit it to him. Like she says, "Oh, I had a great day at work," and then goes and cries on her separate bed. That's separate bed.
Adam does a really good old-timey voice.
Do I?
Yeah. When
what was
you
the one
said wear those papers.
Those papers, Lucy. Damn it, Lucy.
I'm coming, Mr. Mooney.
I need those papers ASAP.
It was
I thought it was a sing-along show.
Adam, how is your whole... what you don't know, other Adam, is that this Adam has told his wife he's going to turn over a new leaf and be less angry.
Mm-hmm.
You don't seem like an angry dude.
Only when I drive. Well, no, other times too.
But that's normal. I think everybody gets angry when they drive. You know what you need to do? Listen to more Billy Ocean when you drive.
Oh, get out of my... Wait. Yeah. Get into my... What?
Get out of my dreams.
And
get
into my car.
By the way, a little aggressive, little
right.
bit rapey, but it's like at the same time, it's like a catchy-ass song. That guy had it going on.
Yeah.
And you're not in a bad mood when you listen to him, or Rick Astley.
Imagine him like working on that song, like in the studio. Get off of your miniature bicycle. Billy? No, that's not the... Okay. Tricycle? Get off of your... Get out of that Catholic schoolgirl uniform. Billy, I think you're going down a road here.
Yeah. We're going to need some paperwork if you keep going down that road.
Let's see. Okay, I got you.
What is it?
Put down that stroke cane. No, Billy,
again.
not too far.
Billy, back the other direction.
Stop sleeping in that refrigerator box. Ain't into my, huh? No?
No, I think we were better off with the first few options you started with.
Get off that hobby horse?
There it is. Print it, record it, sell it at Target.
Get off of that big wheel and into my car.
Get off that swing set.
Get out of that bouncy castle and onto my dick. Oh, no, Billy.
Out of that Chuck E. Cheese bar pit.
Guys, an adult wouldn't be hanging out in these places. Why are you?
Yeah, there you go.
What?
An adult would not be hanging out in these places. This is not places for adults.
I'm saying a young, nubile.
That's
young
way
girl.
too young. It's criminal. People will start to talk.
Come out of California Adventure. That's wordy. I'm going to stop myself on that one. Yeah.
What's the source of your anger when you drive?
Well,
Other people.
everyone, there's a couple things. Us being colossally stupid as a city.
Yeah.
Like, just magnificently stupid mixed with super colossal pussies trying to drive and the people who are turning left but don't venture out into the intersection so that only they can turn left when the signal cycles, and you're like, come on.
Leaving you to make a life or death choice.
Right. I could go, we could do 3 on a cycle on a left. Easy. We do 2. We could easily do 3 or
if
even 4.
You don't know that 3 is assumed at this point, living out here.
Yes. I always go for it. We talked about the person that misses their left-hand turn and decides they're going to stop in the middle of the street and just everyone can go around them. And then the people get into the fender benders and get out of the car in the fast. It's just a myriad of just stupid moves and the fact that we don't do anything about it. And it's just so inefficient. Like, I don't mind the traffic and I don't mind the congestion. I mind the wild, inefficient. Also, like this move, because I just drove out to Fontana. I drove to Fontana and back 2 times.
Right.
This weekend. And it's Diamond Lane all the way out to Fontana, except for there's that person in the Diamond Lane and everyone in the lane to the right is blowing past them. And then when you blow past them and you slide in front, you realize they can't see the car in front of them in the Diamond Lane. And if there's 750,000 yards between your front bumper and the rear bumper of the other car in the Diamond Lane, get the fuck out of the Diamond Lane. And people have that, he's going 66 miles an hour. Get the fuck out of that lane. If people are blowing past you to your right and you're in the Diamond Lane, get the fuck out of that lane.
Yeah.
It's for people who want to fucking drive. All right. Get out of my Diamond Lane.
No, you got it.
Get out of that color me mine. Hey, huh? No? All right.
Get out of that Buzz Lightyear costume.
Adam Ray in studio. We'll take a quick break. Mark Geragos coming in. Well, we'll find him. And we'll be right back after this. Good times. Hey, we're going to be in Caroline's on Broadway. Is that on Broadway?
I was just there this weekend.
Times Square.
New York City. 5 big podcasts.
That's
July
gonna be awesome.
18th through the 20th. They always go clean, so jump on that. Now, special instructions for Vancouver, Commodore Ballroom. Tickets are selling fast, so let's slow it down because I don't want to do a second show. And if it sells out in the next 2 weeks, August's going to insist because he's going to do that. Hey, buddy, you're already getting on a plane and going up there, so we're just leaving money on the table. Why can't we leave it somewhere else?
Yeah.
But it's like you're already going through customs. I like when people break it down.
Sure.
You're already going from your house to the car, from the car. Well, actually, then there's the driveway. Then you're driving down the driveway.
Yeah.
Then you're going to LAX. Then you're parking the car. Then you're going through security. Then you're getting on an Air Canada flight. Then you're going through customs. Then you're going to a hotel. Then you're already going to the theater.
You're already rolling your toothbrush up in your underwear, dude.
Yeah, you're leaving money on the table.
It's sitting there for you.
The super breakdown doesn't help make a point ever.
Right.
And it just gives you more time to become more convinced you don't want to do whatever
Then
it
they
is.
hit you with this one, too. All the money's in the second show. Like, why don't we just do the second show then? Let's skip the first one.
Right.
Just do a second show.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
It basically means this, and it's sad, but it's true. Adam either knows what I'm talking about or he's going to find out because he's on a rocket sled to the moon, this kid.
Thank you.
What happens is these theaters aren't cheap, and unions, you got a guy running a soundboard, but he's not doing anything, but he's getting all the union stuff, and they're expensive. So if you can get a theater for one night, maybe it costs 8 or 12 or 20 grand for the theater for one night, but then whatever over that you get to keep. But then if you just do a second show, it doesn't cost double the money to get the theater, but it's double the profit.
Why don't you just go and do someone else's second show?
Should find someone who's popular, like Kevin Hart.
Yes.
And do his second show.
Sure.
Someone who's popular with somewhere to be.
Let me do my Billy Ocean thing. You know him. Come on, you black people. No?
Or you could do
super topical. Hold on. Joey Chewett. No Joey Chewett. Come on, black people. You guys are shit me. No Joey Chewett. Huh. Wow, that's it. So No. No, that's all I got. Well, anyway, I could go get my money.
You could do Judith Light's second one-woman show.
Judith Light's second one-woman show.
Just go in there after she finishes being like, and then that's where I was saw the Baskin-Robbins burn down with the dog in it. Good night, everybody. And then you come in and you set up your podcast.
And then I start singing, that's Judy with an I, not Trudy with a D. All right. Where are we? Yes. So Vancouver, keep buying the tickets, but, take it easy. Will Turn Theater, go sick on that. That's me and Jay Moore coming up August 3rd, and it seems like enough for now. All right, should we do some news, Alison Rosen?
Yes.
The news with Alison Rosen.
She'll read some news from her iPad. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It's Alison. And when it's time to wrap it up, she'll sign it off with zip it cunt. It's Alison.
So Broadway is dimming its marquees on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. to honor James Gandolfini. He was in God of Carnage.
But it doesn't feel like, is that enough Broadway?
That's what I was just going to say. Is that a
don't you need a little more Broadway?
Tribute? Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, he was in God of Carnage, he was in On the Waterfront in 1995, and he was in A Streetcar Named Desire in 92. So
okay,
evidently,
that's 3. I guess that's kind of the over-under.
I think the thing that tips it in his favor is local celebrity. New York, New Jersey guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
But it's sort of like, it's that, not to your point, but to your point of has he done enough Broadway, that thing of celebrity, of towns saying, like, this is the birthplace of Cindy Crawford. And then your point is always, yeah, but she got the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that didn't go over great in DeKalb, Illinois. Seemed funny at the time to me. But I had explained to everybody in the town after the 22nd person told me, Cindy Crawford was born here. I said, yeah, but she turned 14. She took a good long look in the mirror, and she's never been back. So, yeah, where you're born doesn't mean shit. Like,
Right.
it's where you end up. It's sort of like a college, It's like you want to be Stanford, not necessarily Palo Alto. I mean, that's fine, but you want to be the place that people are coming from China to attend.
See, it's like when
that's Malibu.
I think I told you I went out on a date with this guy who was very, very gay, although didn't think he was. And he
How did you know, by the way? And did you know right off the bat?
Yeah, I did.
What's the tell?
Seeming super gay.
Cock smelled like shit.
His breath smelled like cock. What did you say?
Something
And
like
anyway,
that.
he told me that he had dated Gwyneth Paltrow. Which,
Hold on, I may know
Wait a
this
minute.
dude.
Is it Brad Pitt?
I think he was making it up. But
Hold on, I think if you're making it up, well, first off, no one ever goes, oh, yeah? Gwenny's a dear friend. I got her on speed dial.
Right.
Hold on. Gwen? Yeah. Let me describe this guy.
Yeah.
So you got that.
But my thing is, still, how much of a feather in your cap is that? Because she obviously decided you were too gay for her.
Well, that's not the only reason
I
people
know.
stop seeing each other. Sometimes it's too bi. Now I wonder if I know this dude because
It was in New York, so I doubt it.
oh no, now it just
wait.
turned into that dude.
Curly dark hair?
All I know is a friend of Daniel Kellison, my friend, said his friend, he set like them up with Gwyneth Paltrow, and they dated for a while before in New York, obviously, before she met Chris. What's his Dougal over there?
Martin.
Yeah,
I can't remember the guy's name, but he told me that one must always take the opportunity to drink champagne when it's offered.
Sweet God.
Wow. But it seems like a match made in heaven, those two.
Really?
Like they could just talk about neckerchiefs and ascots and
they had
international
more
cuisine. Yeah.
They had more in common than he and I had in common. It was just one date, and it was the kind of date where he also made really intense, way too much. He was a close talker, and he made like not unremitting eye contact, which actually people get
like
on your
that.
case for no eye contact.
Yes, I look at the ground.
It's welcoming.
It means I'm thinking.
Yeah, he just
And
like
not
wanted
judging.
to. He was just staring into my eyes, unblinking, and I instantly didn't want to be on the date, and I didn't want champagne, and I wanted to go.
Yeah. See, me and Gwyneth, like the first time she caught me peeing in the sink, it'd probably be it for
That was
us.
a deal
Yeah.
breaker.
I think so.
She
I
does
think
seem
so.
high maintenance. I don't know if she really is, but
She'd have to think I was a colossal douchebag, I would assume.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is she? You don't want to hate fuck her though, right? No, it's Scarlett Johansson.
That's just fuck.
You have a thing about Scarlett Johansson, right?
Actually, I have 3 fucks out of third. Scarlett, yes, I have a hate fuck list.
Right.
I think all, healthy males do, right?
Of course.
And you have Scarlett Johansson is like near the top.
And is that because you know that she would dislike you and you'd like her to have to live with the fact that she slept with you?
Yeah.
I'm not
There's some
making
of
this
that.
up, right? I heard you say
no,
this, right?
I just like I have the way I base my sort of fuck diagram is there's a couple of components.
Sure.
It's how much would I like to have sex with this person,
Right.
and then how much would they not like to have sex with me?
Yeah, you have to
There's an
consider that.
element of them going, oh my God, I dip myself in Purell. I boil myself in Purell if I ever fucking rubbed up against
And
that.
that's
And
what
that's
turns you
an-
on. That's what gets you going
That's
to the
the
next level.
aphrodisiac for
Yeah.
him.
No, I'm not. Here's what I'm saying. Like Natalie Portman is very attractive.
Sure.
But the fact that she would never have sex with me in a million years gets her up toward the top of my list. Because if Natalie Portman just was a big fan of the Man Show and worked over at the Sears in North Hollywood and would fuck me, that'd be nice, but it wouldn't be quite have the same allure.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yes, actually today I was remembering a fairly unpleasant, humiliating early boy-girl experience, which led to nothing. Okay, so my friend was dating this guy. She was very popular. He was very popular. I was not popular. Her friend, who was like the most blonde human being in the world, who drove a BMW and probably like had been on a yacht earlier that day. Just the imagine like the king of the wasps.
Right.
He was going to come over. His name was Ken. It's even a waspy
That is very
name.
That's very waspy name.
And I remember them being like, well, maybe Ken will like you. Now, I had frizzy hair and I was husky.
I like when you say that word.
Great.
That's a face.
You were like sweatpants.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean
I was
fat.
husky too. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Lose the weight, chubby.
All right.
And I had clear braces.
Yeah, you did.
They probably were a little yellowy because I had been drinking Diet Coke.
It just looks like food is levitating on your
clear
teeth.
braces, horrible idea. It's
Just
like you have giant misshapen teeth. All
Yeah.
those braces.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'd had an impacted cuspid and I had to have surgery to bring it to
Oh,
them.
slow
what
down,
that,
baby. Let
so
me
what
get my
that
thing
meant,
out.
though, was there was like an oversized gap right over here and like a thick wire connecting the braces.
Yeah. No, you're
Anyway.
on my list.
So I don't think Ken took a liking to me, but I don't understand why I had to sit there and make awkward small talk with him while it became apparent to all of us what I already knew.
I was just picturing me one day meeting Natalie Portman and her coming up to me and going, I want to suck your cock, and me going, don't ruin the fantasy, baby. You're ruining it for me, understand? I got
Stick
a
to
whole
the script,
thing.
bitch.
I got a
Yeah.
whole thing where I discuss you, understand? I'll back off and pretend like you're nauseous. If you could yak into that potted plant, that would be awesome. Yeah, so I think we should all, one of these days, maybe sooner than later, we should get a list of, and it's weird because you decide this. You don't. I mean, for all this isn't true, I'm sure. But for all I know, I could talk to Natalie Portman, or you could talk to Natalie Portman, and she could go, I used to listen to Loveline all the time when I was 17 years old. I was a huge Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew fan. I used to
Do you want me to talk to her?
Go talk to her. Please get that out of her. But again, don't tell me, it'll ruin it. So I could be completely off, but I would like everyone's list of who would least like to have sex with them. Now, I don't want the one. Everyone has the list of who do you want to have sex with the most.
Right.
Least with me. I got.
And then you want to have sex with them.
No, probably, but I definitely have Paltrow and Portman are at the top, or near the top of my list in my mind of women who don't want to have.
Does
the
Oprah
most
fall
sex.
into that list at all?
She's she's between my wife and my mom, so she's on that list. Yeah, it's fairly it's serpentine. It keeps going. Mm-hmm.
Who's on your list?
Of people who won't.
Yeah, who
do it
you
and
think
they'll get
don't
to the
want
top.
to.
Yeah, Oprah probably won't, but I don't really want to have sex with Oprah, but she's still, you got to put her on the list, and Gail's on there too.
Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't want to have, she would not like
she
that.
likes guys with tattoos and biker dudes, and guys who can build shit. I can't even make a fucking grilled cheese properly.
Right.
Paula Deen. Brad Williams, my co-host on my podcast.
Brad, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Brad.
Shit. Reginald Vell Johnson.
Yeah.
I'm trying to hit every race and color and creed.
Rub Benetton at it.
My stepmom.
About last night, but she's on my list. She bridged the list.
Look at that.
Yeah,
7
Sarah
degrees
bridged the list.
So awkward.
There's probably more.
You got a list, Brian? Who doesn't?
Literally never thought about it.
I never really thought about it either. I mean, I've never written it down. I do see the celebrities, and I go, like, there's the ones where you go, like, you see the one, and she probably doesn't want to have sex with you either. No one wants to have sex with you, but you see him, and you go, she'd be fun. We'd have fun. That'd be cool. And then there's one where you're like, she'd take a Brillo pad to her skin until the first layer, until she starts seeing bone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
See, I worry that I come across in general like someone who is frigid and judgmental. When I'm really, I'm delightful and slutty.
Yeah. No, I have you that way. And
well, how often do you say the words frigid and judgmental in a sentence?
As often as I can.
All right. What the hell were we talking about?
We're going to talk. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about Broadway dimming the marquee.
Well,
for
first
James
off,
Gandolfini.
dimming the marquee just seems like there's a transformer that's fucked up or something, right?
Yeah.
Like, does it? Can you tell it's dimmed?
No.
Or does it things seem dusty?
I think if they all are dim, you would probably. I mean, if it's nighttime, you would notice that there's fewer lights.
People are going to complain that they weren't able to see the lights and they got to the show late. I didn't know if the lights were brighter.
Fuck
I
that
would have.
Gandolfini. I like when you do the old Jew. Mark Geragos coming in studio. By the way, Mark, say hi to Adam Ray, comedian Adam Ray.
Hey, buddy.
He's in a new movie called The Heat, which is out on the 28th. Good to see you.
You're good?
Yeah.
Mark, what did I want to talk a little Trayvon Martin stuff. I don't know what's going on with that trial. I know they started with the knock-knock joke.
Yeah, I was just going to say
that. Right. That was not apparently didn't go over real well.
And also, it had an element, I think, maybe we'll play it again. There's no such thing as you going, can we have just a moment here without some asshole coughing in the middle? Like, literally, he went like, knock, knock. And it's like, there's always that fucking one person. They'll do it.
It was in the punchline. It was, who's there?
Right. They'll do it. They'll do it all the time. They'll go, famed boxing trainer and legend. We've lost one of our own tonight. The great Angelo Dundee. Passed at the age of 83, one of the greatest legends in boxing. And now, as boxing tradition would have it, the legendary 10 count. Please, a moment of silence for the great Angelo Dundee. Oh, Brian, you got that? No, I need the bell. Not the. I'm sorry. All right. They'll do the slow thing, and then before they get to 3, someone will.
But I've got.
Or it goes go. Woo!
Yeah,
I got
like,
two
what?
comedians here.
Sure.
Now, tell me one thing. If you're going to get up and you're talking to 6 people in the jury box,
Right.
and you're going to tell a joke because you want to kind of,
Sure.
diffuse the atmosphere, do you set it up with this whole...
That's what we talked about
No.
earlier, that he shot
He fucked
Adams
himself.
feeling that he lawyered himself.
Yeah.
Lawyers have, there's a long wrap on everything you do. There's a warning label on everything. There's a long preamble about before engaging and using this medication. So he did that to himself with his own joke.
With his own joke. Now, and then he came back after lunch and did that. Okay, now, if I offended you, don't hold it against my client. And then there was a warning
you gotta
label on
just
the joke
commit.
afterwards.
You just gotta commit. He just should have gone right into it and been like, let me ask you guys something. Knock.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he should have just done it on the railing.
Who's there? And you know, just do the whole thing, and then don't even comment on doing the joke. And then people were like, "Well, shit, that was fucking brave."
Why do you think? I mean, yes, from a comedy standpoint, that was awful. But why do you think he decided to tell this joke? Was there a strategy behind it?
Usually because he must have gone to Toastmasters once, and they told him open up with a joke. You know what I mean? And so he says, "Hey, I'm not funny, so I'll open up and do knock jokes."
Mark does all his trials with a big nose and glasses on.
I do right now. I've got the big nose and glasses.
The glasses move independently. The nose comes off with
That's why
them.
I shaved the mustache. It was a
Accentuate the big nose.
exactly wanted to bring it home.
Did he do damage with that joke?
No, I mean, look, it's great fodder for cable news, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter one whit. Nobody gives a. I mean, you almost, to some degree, probably didn't hurt him because you feel sorry for the guy. You know, when somebody's really dying up there, you kind of cringe a little bit, and you want to help him.
What do you think? Well, first off, as a team, does he run that past the rest of his team? And
Or was that an ad lib?
No, I talked to. Hey, can we just? Are we
Yeah.
under a cone of silence
Yes.
here? I talked to O'Mara. He did not run it by him. He didn't know.
Well, what would he say?
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. I mean, that's a little thrown in under the bus. You
Right.
know? If it was teamwork, you'd say, yeah, he ran it by me, but the delivery was off. No,
didn't
he didn't
workshop
run it
it.
by him. But I will make one prediction. You're not going to see him do the closing argument. Okay.
No
right. way, no how. O'Mara's doing the closing argument.
Maybe he needs to pull out an aristocrat joke for the end.
Yeah,
Why don't you
Gilbert
guys write
Godfrey
him
out
one?
there.
I mean, what's an appropriate joke in a murder case? You have to worry about that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
bad.
you can
Especially
cross.
a racially charged one, and you got the family there. Humor's tough.
I mean, at that point, I'd usually probably go with like a whoopee cushion or a hand buzzer. Just try
Yeah,
to
or
go old school.
you just pick something that's sort of, like a Pollock joke or something that's
There it is.
nothing really
Yeah.
I
represented.
like self-deprecation. If you make fun of yourself, that always goes over big.
Yeah.
So that's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm such a shitty lawyer. Even though
right.
this guy's only brought up on manslaughter charges, she's probably going to fry.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
You give that Al Pacino Justice for All closing. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
Where it's, ladies and gentlemen, my client should go straight to prison.
Right. So, what have we found out so far in this trial? Seems like the prosecution did a little better job in their opening statements.
They did. It was more emotional, and it was greater. It was better for TV. Today, however, give O'Mara credit. He took apart a witness in the last 15 minutes who was the crime scene lady, and she had miraculously, you love these people, they've had all kinds of discovery. In Florida, they do depositions, which we don't get here. So you get at a witness, just like a civil case. And all of a sudden today, she remembered a key fact for the first time she'd never testified to before. It's in no reports. It's been over a year. And he did a nice job of saying, was today the first day you remembered that? And all of a sudden, it wasn't it the prosecution who basically programmed you on this. So it was a good day for the defense at the end.
So far, what I've heard is if he Trayvon Martin was left-handed, so would have been punching the right side of his face. So so he didn't seem to have enough damage there. There'd be more damage on the knuckles or the hands of Trayvon
It depends
Martin.
if you're punching, or remember what he says was happening. He was banging his head on the back of the curb.
Right, which wouldn't damage your hands.
Yeah, your
per
hands
se.
wouldn't be the
But
things that
isn't
were
the
taking it.
big thing going to be the gunshot and the residue and the proximity sort of thing? Meaning, if he... Well, I know you're making a face,
I'm
but
making
hold
a
on a
face.
second.
Let me
Hold
just,
on.
okay.
Let me
I'm going
say-
to let
I'll
you
lay
set
mine
this
out.
up. It's kind of like the knock-knock joke.
Okay.
Okay.
If this is Spike Lee's version of what happened. He came up behind him. He stood 2-3 feet away, 4 or 5 feet away, and he just shot him in the side or the back or the front or whatever. But he literally, you were over there, Trayvon Martin's over here, I'm over here, and I just shot you from a distance. Now, if it's going to go the way Zimmerman said, we were rolling around on the ground, I pulled my gun out, in which case the gun would have literally been pressed against him or pretty close to pressed against him, which would be a lot of powder wounds and residue and things like that.
So this is a good question.
So isn't that going to solve a lot of things?
Yes. The stripling is what they call it. The stripling, which is the powder. The powder burns. So they have that. I mean, that's clear. And they
have powder burns.
They've got powder burns. They've got it on the clothing. They've got it. It shows in the autopsy. I don't think there's any question that they're going to say it's close contact. What they're saying, what the prosecution is saying, and the witness, their key witness, is saying they're rolling around. And I don't think they're going to dispute that at one point Trayvon was on top and getting the better of Zimmerman. What they're saying is that Zimmerman had gotten on top of him at some point. And then, while he was screaming, this is the prosecution's theory.
Have we figured out who's screaming yet?
No. And
why can't we figure that out?
Apparently, they had one guy on. I mean, did you see this one guy who was testifying? I think his name was Owens. This guy had invented some software that he had gotten from Russia and had a Windows, some kind of ease to it or something. And he says that you can go up into the higher levels of the scream, and then you can take that as an exemplar and compare it, and that he figured out that it was Trayvon. The defense, believe it or not, put on an FBI agent who said this is just complete and utter horseshit. You can't do it. It's impossible. And
Trayvon Martin's not alive, but Zimmerman is.
Correct.
And it's pretty common practice to just have these guys, let me turn on my DAT recorder, now scream exactly what was heard or was picked up on the 911, whatever.
I don't know that you can recreate in a situation like that when your adrenaline's going. You're in a fight. You scream at somebody?
Well, it depends. See, I can tell whether they're guilty or innocent by
just looking at them.
Well, it's like OJ trying to put the glove on was like a late-night infomercial where they're trying to strain the spaghetti and they're dumping it all over their special needs child.
Too many pots and pans.
Whoa! I can't, you go, no. Like, that's what OJ was doing with that glove. Like, what am I supposed to do? No way. Like, you could tell he was. If someone said, OJ, you get this glove on quickly and cleanly and you'll go free, he would have been zip, pow, boom, on. So all you need to do is tell Zimmerman, we need to recreate the scream as best we can. We're going to take this recording. We're going to go do it through a cell phone. We're going to go outdoors to the same proximate area, and I need you as close as you can to approximate. You scream as loud as you can. If he does a half effort, that means it was him. Do you see what I'm saying?
So we should get Dr. Phil to do it because he's the one who blew the lid off the Manti Te'o thing.
Yeah, he did. And we need more lid blowing, Dr. Phil. He blew the lid off himself. Doesn't he look like he has no lid?
It does.
So we can't fucking figure out in 2012 whose voice was the
we can't.
The young black kid or the husky Hispanic dude?
It's just
and one of them's alive.
One's alive. But wait a second. Wouldn't you scream as you're getting the crap kicked out of you?
No.
You wouldn't?
I've had the crap kicked out of me.
So have I. I've screamed.
I wouldn't scream. Oh, really?
Yeah, I've screamed.
What did you scream?
Usually, I mean, you just
tell your wife to stop.
Yeah,
what's her name?
Stop
Sheila.
Paulette, stop hitting
Paulette,
me.
stop it.
All this for what?
I gave you enough money. What more do you want?
No,
I don't. See, I just don't think so. I think in that kind of a situation, I mean, first of all, empirically, people don't really remember exactly what happened.
Yes.
When they're under the influence of adrenaline and they're getting into a fight like that, their memory is completely clouded. We know that eyewitness identification is usually the least reliable stuff that you can find.
Adrenaline erases your memory for a reason, and
right.
I think it's post-traumatic stress. I think, and you all remember those fights or those moments or those situations in your life where you've just went, like, it was just like next thing you know, we're on the ground, next thing you know, I was in an ambulance or the back of a cop car or something, like, I don't know what happened. I think your brain, from being, attacked by bears back in the day.
Right, it's evolutionary from
otherwise,
fight or flight.
You would have a dream every night if it was that vivid, about being in the movies. It works that way. But in reality, adrenaline flushes that PTSD thing that we would all get.
Right, and as time goes by, I think there's a function of the brain where it just, in order to have you be able to cope, just reconstitutes your memory such that you're going to be able to deal with whatever happened.
So who do you think was screaming, in your opinion?
I think they were both screaming.
Right.
And I think it's impossible to tell this scream versus that scream. And I also think it's much ado about nothing. At a certain point, one guy's got lines on the back of his head that are straight, which look like or are consistent with having your head pounded against a concrete.
Right.
Zimmerman's also got the broken nose. I mean, there's no question about that, and that's a fact. The question is, I think, did Zimmerman follow this kid when he shouldn't have, when the kid was no threat to him? Or is it that the kid came back around to him and confronted him, and whether he used the force? Because the whole issue comes down to, was the force reasonable in the situation?
So how are we going to figure out whether he turned around and came back at Zimmerman, as Zimmerman says, or Zimmerman came up on him?
Zimmerman will never take the stand. First of all, I make that prediction right now. They would be the lawyer. It would be a knock-knock joke to the exponential 1,000 of malpractice to put this guy.
You would
in the
never,
stand.
if he was your client.
I would tackle him.
What if they reinforced the stand so they could hold his weight? Would you still then let him up on the stand?
I wouldn't let him get within 5 feet of that stand.
Why not?
Why?
First of all, he's made at least 3 recorded statements. So he talked to the police the first night. He went back the second day. They had him run through everything else. There's no way that guy, who is fairly unsophisticated, all you have to do is listen to 911 tapes. And frankly, he's like one of these wannabe cop security guard types. You know the type. So that guy is making a bunch of statements. You've got prosecutors who spent a year preparing this thing. And you have a guy who's not very sophisticated. There's no way he can do hand-to-hand combat on cross-examination and survive. It's just never going to happen.
But if you have a story, like I said, you watch these 2020 shows or 48 hours, these Friday night shows where it's basically, these are just recipes for how women can kill their husbands for under $5,000.
How to.
Yeah. But they'll always do that story where the guy says, hey, I was downstairs, I was watching the Packers game, and my wife said she was going upstairs to take a bath, and I went up at halftime, and she was in the tub, and she literally fell asleep and drowned in the tub. And they're like, oh, please. And he was like, hand of God, I was just down there watching the game, drinking a few cold ones, and I went up at halftime, and that's where I found her. That's all. That's my story. So if that is the way that actually went down, and you felt confident with that, then wouldn't you say, go to the stand and have the guy tell you whatever he wants to tell you, because I only have one story, which is I watched the first half of the Packers game and then I went upstairs?
No, because, well, first of all, you don't need to, because you're going to get in his story without cross-examination when the prosecution enters it into evidence, because they're going to take snippets of his story, absolutely, and they're going to enter it into evidence. Then the only fight is going to be, does the defense, under what's called the rule of completeness, if I let in part of this to the judge, look, you let in this part, you got to let in the whole part. If you get all of that in the prosecution's case, then your client doesn't get cross-examined. He tells his story, it's on tape, and he's not going to be fumbling around. There's no way. I can take any witness, and a good prosecutor can take any witness, and when this guy feels like his life is on the line, he's got 6 strangers sitting over there who are looking at him, there's no way you're going to be able to withstand 2 days of cross-examination. Anybody, you could be the most innocent guy in the world, and it's been proven, they'll still... He didn't act right. He wasn't emotional enough. He was too emotional. Right. There's always a playbook you're supposed to be going against.
Is this admissible? Can the prosecution say he wouldn't take the stand? What does that look like to you and me? Why can't they do that?
It's called Griffin error. So there's a U.S. Supreme Court case says you cannot do that. But the U.S. Supreme Court, the brilliant guys that are there right now, the 5, just ruled that you now can comment. This happened this week. You can comment. Pre-custodial silence is as much of an admission. So now when cops say something to you and you don't respond, used to be you couldn't comment on that. Supreme Court now said that's okay.
So now I can be up in court and I can say, ladies and gentlemen, the juror, the defendant has chosen not to take the stand.
No, you can't
I don't
do
know
that.
about
But
that.
yeah.
Do you mean like before the
you say-
Miranda rights?
I'm
Or
just gonna say before the Miranda
Just
rights.
saying.
You
Just
say-
saying. Just saying.
You say, well, I'll front load that with jurors. When I'm questioning jurors and picking jurors, I'll say, look, I know it's a completely rational response when I ask you, are you going to be upset if my client doesn't take the stand? And 9 times out of 10 people say, yeah, if I was innocent, you couldn't keep me off the stand. Then I'll explain, well, if my guy's sitting in a cement cell, they feeding him bologna sandwiches and 1-week-old apples, and they wake him up at 3 in the morning. They
Stop
put him
with
in
the gay lingo.
Yeah, you
Just tell
really
us what
like
he's
that.
eating.
I really liked the bologna sandwiches last time.
He loved it.
I know. So yeah, there's something about
That's
it.
at the bottom of the bologna.
There's a certain kind of wants to go into inmate receiving in county jail, but you get.
I am a receiver. How do you know?
It's a taker, not a giver.
Yeah.
Is it kosher bologna?
I'm like Liberace. Yeah. So
Did you
anyway,
watch that?
I did.
Okay, did it?
More than once.
Did you?
Yes.
It was like a train wreck, wasn't it?
It's fun.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. It's
So-
unbelievable.
so-
anyway, you get the guy up there. He hasn't slept. It's 3 hours. He hasn't showered. They've had him on the court line. He's, avoiding shanks in the shower or as he's walking by. I mean, it's not a...
So people are basically what you're saying is no matter how innocent you are, you have a well-trained assassin who's got plenty of sleep and is eating a nice kosher meal in the morning.
Exactly.
And he's going to come in here and he's going to use his big words and his bigger brain. He's going to pick you apart. Eventually, you're going to say something stupid, and they're going to use that against you.
That's exactly
and there's
right.
no reason
There's
to
no
expose
reason.
yourself.
Why would you expose that? Especially because what will happen inevitably in any jury trial, the focus is supposed to be on the prosecution's case. They're supposed to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. But the minute you put the defendant on, jurors don't care about anything that happened before. It's what did the defendant say? Did he lied about this when a guy makes a misstatement?
So
and
this
boom.
is this sort of not provable unless there's something we don't know about? I mean, unless there's some eyewitness that said, I saw Zimmerman come up behind him and put his hands on him? Or, I mean, what can we do?
Circumstantial evidence. Prosecution's going to
do?
take on the girlfriend of Trayvon, who was on the phone. They've got her version of what was going on in real time. They've got the 911 operator and what the 911 operator was telling Zimmerman at the time. Don't follow him. Wait for the police, things like that. It's a circumstantial case. And then from that, the prosecution's going to say, this guy was a cop wannabe. He was out there. He was profiling. Profiling, of course, being code for...
They're allowed to say profiling, but not racial profiling.
Not racial, but, everybody
I
knows
don't know
what it
why.
means.
But by the way, we can just drop the whole racial part of profiling. You just profile.
Right. It's a complete redundancy.
Yeah, you profile.
Profile.
Yeah.
Right.
think of all the time we'll be able to recoup.
Yes, it's going to be great. I'll
All
get
the
so much
bologna
more
sandwiches we can eat.
I'll get so much more done in my day without drop. Well, but no, you do when you profile someone, it's like their age, their size, are they broad-shouldered, the color, their sex. You just sort of everything just falls under one big umbrella. What kind of car they're driving? It's all done in a matter of milliseconds in your brain because we're all walking around with some sort of risk assessment basically all the time. All right, should we do
Can I ask
another news story? Oh, yeah.
One more question about this story, though. We've heard so much about what evidence is admissible and what isn't. I know the prosecutors are trying to get, Zimmerman called the non-emergency number, upwards of 50 times, and they want to get that in because they say it shows his state of mind. All the stuff about Trayvon and how he was doing in school, or whether he had paraphernalia, things like that. None of that is admissible. Why? What determines
because
that?
all of that is what's called bad character evidence and character assassination, basically. So they're saying that's not coming in. But generally, you will get in. I think they're going to get in some of those tapes of him calling beforehand, of Zimmerman calling beforehand, because there's stuff about him doing this, that, and the other. Frankly, I think the prosecution's better off without that stuff coming in because he seems kind of meek on those calls. He doesn't seem like a guy who is this vigilante profiling animal that they want to have the jury believe. So I think it's a double-edged sword for the prosecution. But it probably comes in because it goes to his motive or MO, and that's admissible.
And then how long do you think this case like this is going to take?
When she eliminated, she being the judge, eliminated the two experts for the prosecution on the voice identification, That eliminated also 2 witnesses for the defense. So those 4 witnesses would have comprised a week. They've estimated 3, so you would think this should be over in about 10 court days, 8 or 9 court days.
What do you think about the chick judge that did the Chad Ochocinco ass slap thing?
I don't understand why his lawyer, and I don't want to, demean the lawyer, but the obvious response when he kind of pats him like that is, Judge, he's a football player. It's a good play. She had just complimented his lawyer. She had just said, your lawyer got you a great deal.
Right.
So he's, it's like, okay, you scored a touchdown. Bam, I slap you on the ass, Judge. It was no disrespect to you. I was, seconding what you were telling me.
Right.
Instead, she throws him in custody for 30 days, and the guy has to come out and act like a complete wimp and say, oh, Your Honor, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. You let me away for 30 days.
But is that on his attorney?
Yes, his attorney should have stepped up instead of said, well, he couldn't help. I don't know. I think the attorney was shell-shocked at the point.
You know what really fucked it up for Chad, if you ever watch that tape? There's a big black bailiff who's like probably played a little ball in his day, probably got to, JUCO and then blew his knee out or something. He just turns to the camera. He turns the camera.
He did, and then he started inciting people to laugh even more, and it was a nightmare.
The judge was like, you making fun of me? And then she's like, you know what? And it's like, the fucking bailiff, fucking slap him on the ass.
She was so uptight. I don't know what her problem was. I thought it was ridiculous.
I think, let's not forget why Chad was there. It was a little domestic battery or something of that nature. But the bailiff, Rusty
the bailiff,
he turned around and just gave a big old laugh to the camera. And I don't know, his supervisor's got to talk to him like, hey, keep a poker face, would you? Some shit's like this going to happen. Don't actually turn toward the camera. Don't flash the camera and give a thumbs up.
The next time an ex-NFL All-Pro comes in here,
that's right,
and slaps his lawyer, it's far-fetched, but
here we can watch it.
And the terms of this plea negotiation are that you're going to admit that you violated probation. Your probation is going to be modified and extended for an additional 3 months, so your probation will not naturally terminate until December 21st, 2013. Special condition of your probation is that you submit to 2 counseling sessions per week for the remainder of your probationary term.
All right. You want to fast forward a little bit?
How much you want to bet she's an ex-prosecutor?
Here it comes. Oh, that's an interesting point.
And same terms and conditions of probation.
Gary, you can cue these up to the spot in the future.
Are you satisfied with the assistance of your attorney?
He's awesome.
Okay. You should be. He's an excellent attorney. He did a great job for you, sir.
Yeah, and here you go.
All right.
Do you have any questions of Mr. Swift?
There you go. Bam, he just scored a touchdown.
You're still staring at the camera laughing.
I don't know that you're taking this whole thing seriously. I just saw you stop your attorney.
And that's bullshit.
Oh, God.
She's
bullshit. She totally overreacted.
Yeah.
Totally overreacted.
That's a power trip thing, yeah.
It is. It's a, this is the problem with a lot of prosecutors. They kind of go college, law school, straight into the prosecutor's office. They have absolutely no connection with clients or dealing with anybody else, and
big misconnect
then they spend all their time demonizing defendants, and it's a bad situation.
It's the same trajectory our mayor was on. It's college, law school, fail the bar, fail the bar, fail the bar, fail the bar, run the seventh largest economy in the world into the ground, and then run for governor. That's awesome. He's a dope, is he not? If you ever heard Geragos speak, do other lawyers laugh their ass off when he tries to string a sentence together? Could you imagine him in a courtroom defending you? Could you imagine Antonio Geragos in a courtroom defending you?
Antonio's a friend. He's a wonderful young man.
What does he do when you talk? Like you eat dinner, he just grunts and pushes breadsticks at you? Does he talk?
What, does he work at the Olive Garden?
Yes, he doesn't. I've never heard him string together a coherent sentence. Does he have a disability?
I think he's a UCLA grad, isn't he?
Learning disabled?
I think it went to UCLA.
But he didn't talk? What? Have you ever heard him speak? There's a disability. I shouldn't make fun of him. He gets special mark.
Exactly.
You're going to kill Mark.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God! He has a personality disorder and he's an imbecile. Other than that, he's the guy you want running your city. Yeah, to be fair to the bailiff who turned around and laughed and did it twice to the camera,
too. Yeah.
he looked like a. By the way, if shit was to go down, he looked like a cheetah ready to pounce. I mean, he was. You know what I mean? He's just strided.
He's the guy you want taking off after Chad Ochocinco.
Get back here. And then him breathing into an inhaler. Like breathing through a donut, put an inhaler in a donut. Like,
he was keeping decorum in the court.
Yeah. He looked a lot like the cop buddy
the cop
in Die Hard. Yeah.
Right.
Reginald
He
Bell
did look
Johnson.
like, right.
Reginald Bell Johnson.
Oh, my
yeah.
God. There
we
it
mentioned
is.
earlier.
We've come full circle.
Wow.
Will not have sex with me, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, would not have.
In inmate receiving.
Yeah.
And if you buy the bologna sandwich and you do /adam.com or whatever and then got all that.
Yeah. All right. No more comedy. What do we got? You got another story?
Yes, I do. Here's one that I suspect you guys might be on different sides of. Texas is preparing to execute its 500th inmate.
Yeah, baby.
It's a woman.
How many of those do you think out of that 500 were actually innocent? Because I'm betting 20%.
0.
20%?
I'm betting 20%.
Here's my thing. First off, let God sort them out, number one. Number two, they did a whole bunch of other shit. That's the way I feel.
That's where there's smoke, there's fire.
Wow.
Yeah,
philosophy.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, but you're all for that until, because this happens all the time to me. Guys come into the office and it's like, where are my Miranda rights? Where is this? Where's that? I can't believe they've arrested me. You know, the old expression that a Democrat is a Republican that's been indicted, or a conservative is somebody who is yet to be indicted. There's I'm telling you, until you get enmeshed in the system and realize what it can do to you, it's mind-boggling.
Well, here's what my take on the death penalty is. I'm willing to just start with the no shit Sherlock stuff. You know, I want Tex Watson. I want Tex Watson. I'm sorry, dead.
Right.
I just want him dead. He broke into people's house. They were pregnant. And he stabbed them viciously. I want him dead. I don't want him siring kids. I think 4 kids and getting married and things like that.
Smuggling out sperm in the mayonnaise container or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's put that on your bologna sandwich.
That was a Ninth Circuit case.
I'm saying let's start with the big serial killer guys, the guys who've admitted it.
But where's the line, though?
Well, I think first I would like science to get a little more involved with this. I like the DNA stuff.
I love the DNA stuff.
I like the fact that it gets people out, and I like the fact that it brings people in.
But doesn't the DNA stuff scare you? That's what gives me the willies, and I think DNA is why the support for the death penalty has gone down, because DNA has demonstrably and beyond any doubt proven that all of the stuff we used to think was sacrosanct, eyewitness testimony.
Sure.
I mean, take a look at all the DNA exonerations. Guys are getting off of death row, and there were people that were 100% positive that this was the guy who did it. And it turns out they were 100% wrong. That scares the hell out of me.
Well, all you have to do is go through any story of your life with a friend who was there, and they'll tell it much differently than you, oftentimes. Quite a bit.
Less flattering, too.
Always
less flattering, right?
Less flattering. The guy whose ass I kicked when I was 19 goes from 6'4" and 230 to, well, he's confined to a wheelchair. And he was pretty heavily medicated.
I don't even remember that.
And at his age, he probably shouldn't have been out that night anyway.
An oxygen tank.
Yeah, and he'd been huffing coffee or toner. But anyway, Adam tipped him over. Did a pretty good job tipping him out of that wheelchair.
But he fucked him up.
Some people
he didn't come back.
You were handicapped.
Right. So, yes, I would like. All right. Well, maybe it's just 2 black guys. That's racist. That's thinking they look alike.
Which one still keeps in touch with Urkel?
I want him. I want him to start. I'll figure out where to stop. But I want the DNA stuff in there. I'll tell you when to stop killing. I want the DNA. I want the mass murder stuff. And I'll let you know when to stop. And I don't know what this one did for the 500th, but that's a certain.
She killed a 71-year-old neighbor during a robbery.
I don't. And by the way, does her family look at that with a certain amount of pride? You know what I mean?
No, but
I don't know what her name is, but I mean,
Kimberly McCarthy.
The families. It's not because a lot of these people. I mean, yes, there are evil people. I've defended evil people. I mean, there are people who just have no redeeming social qualities. The great majority, overwhelming number of people who are enmeshed in the system and that we're housing at $50,000 a year in the largest prison factory in the world are.
Well, don't worry. We're going to let 10,000 of them out soon because we don't have any money.
You could let out 30,000; it wouldn't matter.
Well, I don't want all the drug. I don't want all the drug people in there. For instance, there's like tons of people I don't want in there.
You should come down one day. Come down to the courthouse with me. Come down to the criminal courts building. Check out. Just sit in a courtroom from 9 o'clock till 10:30 when they do the calendar, and watch how many of those cases are idiotic cocaine or meth cases. I mean, that's what 80% of the Superior Court is. Well, there was a judge friend of mine who once called it the parking ticket of Superior Court. And that's all they do. They just 16 months, 32 months, 48 months. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, should we legalize cocaine?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And crack cocaine as well?
Yeah, if you
Listen,
legalize
I'm with you.
I'm telling you, it makes absolutely what we're doing makes no sense whatsoever because you spur the other crime. Guys, because it's so hard to get, they don't have the money. So what do? They go out and they commit burglaries or robberies. They get high as a kite while they're doing the robbery. They end up killing 71-year-old women. So I mean, it's just ridiculous. Yeah. And all of the crime that we've got now. The Mexican cartel, which is now infiltrating into the southern U.S. and everything else, that's all, you take the profit out of it, all that evaporates.
Well, did we not learn our lesson with booze?
Exactly.
I don't get it.
Look, and you would have liked it if we had legalized booze earlier because the Kennedys wouldn't have had a fortune.
Oh, screw them.
Right.
And my Mangria.
Right.
My grandfather, my great-grandfather, Dutch Carolla, would have been selling Mangria on every corner. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't, by the way, the whole thing about we declared a war on this, drugs 35 years ago, Nancy Reagan or whoever. Okay, when it's at some point, like when do we go, hey, whatever we're doing.
The war didn't last, the war is not exactly working. Talk about hypocrisy. We declare the war on drugs. We go down, we destroy Colombia, we destroy all these other places,
Poppy
Mexico.
Seeds and all that stuff.
Yeah, do all this nonsense where, the reason that Afghanistan was such a mess and terrorism was spawned there was because of the opium trade and everything else. And we are the largest consumers. Right. I mean, we're the ones who are creating the demand for what it is we're declaring a war on. I mean, it's idiotic. I mean, if you did this as an individual, they would institutionalize you because you'd be schizophrenic. But because it's the government, it's okay.
Then what? Well, I do believe part of the way the government works is we start a huge institution like, DEA.
Right.
And then it becomes a mammoth machine, and it's a furnace. And you have to keep shoveling coal into it. And it's like the IRS. And then somebody says...
How about TSA?
And TSA. All the initials. DEA, TSA, IRS.
NSA.
BFD, I say. So
WTF.
WNBA.
Then they become their own huge furnace. And everyone just has to shovel. They have to shovel coal into it as fast as you can to keep the furnace burning. Right. And then somebody comes up and goes... What do we need this furnace for? And someone goes, shut up, here's a shovel. And you go, but I don't get it. Hey, he's not shoveling. We got to all shovel. And you go, I don't get it. And it's like, you realize how many employees this furnace has? This furnace has 5,000 employees, and this other one has 28,000 employees. You want to shut this furnace down and put all those people out of work? Well, I do if it's powering a train that's going in a fucking circle around Yuma. I do. Well, then you want all these people out of work? We can find them jobs doing other things and we can get them off the train that goes in a circle.
You could take some of those 28,000 employees and have them man a drug rehab center or something else.
Right. So what
Dr.
would you...
Drew could be the new Surgeon General. We have Drew run rehab, the Department of Rehab.
See Everett
Dr.
Drew.
Drew in the hizzy.
Then what would we do with all the people who wanted cocaine and wanted methamphetamine? So how would we treat them? How would we take care of them?
England dispenses hard drugs, and there is demonstrable evidence over courses of generations that people can be addicted to these drugs and at the same time be productive. Usually the reason why they aren't productive is because they spend so much time trying to get the illegal drugs.
Because of the price.
Because of the price, and also because the drugs are usually cut and stepped on and everything else, and it ends up being, you end up, inhaling light bulb filament or shooting up some kind of something that's not, or is too strong or not strong enough.
Well, that's. I was just watching a whole thing on Janis Joplin. She got 50% heroin when it's normally like 5% or something. So somebody didn't do a good enough job.
Right, they should have stepped on it.
Although it is one of these things where you're kind of complimenting your dealer as you're dying.
Well, I think
shit's too good.
I had always heard that I don't know if this is an urban myth, but that periodically that would happen. Like they would not cut it as much so that people would die, so that then it's like, oh my God, you get the good stuff from them.
Well, you're dealing with junkies and dealers and drug addicts.
They're great at math.
Yeah, so it's not an exact science with a lot of these guys.
Yeah, and you're not doing Pew Research polls on your demographic.
Right. But anyway, I'm with you. The amount of money on the drug war and the money getting into the hands. I mean, whenever they, pull one of those submarines that had $400 million and 20 stuffed into it, they go, hey, they show it off like they caught a fucking marlin. And all I can think of is how many other submarines did we miss?
Right. Exactly. Well, now they've got, have you seen these tunnels? The tunnels between Mexico and California literally are large enough that they're driving cars. They've got lights in them. They're miles long, and they just constantly moving. And we find one of those, there's probably 200 that we haven't found.
I'll tell you this. I think I've just solved the problem here.
It's like Fraggle Rock.
Yeah. What I want to do, I can figure this one out. I'm going to legalize drugs. We'll put these people out of business, but I'll have them build the subway to the sea. I'll bring them all over here. Yeah. They're, I think they call them, what they call them over there, sand dogs or something like that. What they call them over. No, it's hard for me to say sand without going racist.
His name's Tyrone.
No, sand hogs.
That's a name,
there's a name for them in New
right.
York City. They're like sand hogs, and there's third generation guys, and they're just tunnel diggers, and it's super dangerous stuff. But they could easily.
Jesus, if they can do it at the
tunnels on a
border, why
budget.
can't they do it in L.A. and
Right.
we could actually have transportation?
Yeah,
here?
that'd be nice. All right, we cure two things. My other plan, as you know, for many years ago. There you go, NYC Sandhogs.
Sandhogs. Now, is that racist?
I wanted to take homeless guys and put them on the U.S. bobsled team because I've seen those guys push in 3 or 4 shopping carts laden
and
shopping, and they're going right up Laurel Canyon, passing cars.
Their body type works.
They're made for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. I want to thank Adam Ray for coming in here.
Thanks for having me.
The movie is The Heat.
Yeah.
Come back. Are you local, Adam?
Yeah, I live in L.A., yeah. I do my podcast with Brad.
That's right. That's
every
called
week.
About Last Night.
There it is.
We love Brad Williams.
Yeah, he's the best.
We love
Yeah,
Adam Ray. So come back. Available on iTunes.
Thanks, buddy.
Come back anytime you like. Mark, Mistrial, the name of the book, available on Amazon. Somebody tweeted me today and said it was a great read. And you can go to Geragos.com,
That was Mark who tweeted that to you.
Oh, well, either way.
Thanks, Brian.
A tweet's a tweet. Geragos.com. So, until next time, this is Adam for Adam and Mark and Brian. And I remember those guys. And Alison saying, mahalo.
I'm delightful and slutty.
Hey, kiddies, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and catch any podcasts you might have missed at youtube.com/Adam Carolla. That's youtube.com/me.